Welcome back. My name is Chris Staginelli. I get to build, buy, and sell simple profit businesses every single day. And today we're going to be talking about what it means to be an exit one business owner. You know, the pain that business owners will oftentimes feel at exit one, why roughly 50% of businesses will go out of business at exit one, never even make it to exit two, you know, whether or not you are one, and also a simple plan for you to be able to move forward and actually successfully navigate and make it to exit two in your business as you master all 5 exits of ownership. So jumping right on into it today, you know, just a quick reminder, what are the 5 exits of ownership, right? Exit 1, we're talking about exiting the day job, and we're going to be making our business the job. That's what we're going to be discussing today. Exit 2 is you're going to exit doing all of the work and you're going to start hiring a team. We're going to talk about how you can set up a successful exit 2 and some of the action plans that we're going to cover and review in exit 1. Exit 3 is when you're going to exit managing people. That sounds pretty good, right? And you're going to start building a business system. Exit 4 is really the first real exit. That's when you can hire an operator and you can exit out of the day-to-day operations of the business. And then exit number 5 is, of course, what most folks think of when they think about exiting their business. And that's a true exit of selling ownership, right? You're exiting out of the business fully. Now, when we're talking about exit 1, it's all about exiting the day job and you're making the business your job, right? So that comes with challenges. And the challenges of transitioning into an exit 1 business are, we all go through it, right? Because life is a real thing. And so is life risk. So how do we leave the stability of a full-time W-2 paycheck, right? How do we deal with the uncertainty that comes with now running a business and having to, manage the time of balancing the workload that we have because we're probably still in our job as we're exiting out and making this business our job. So how do we even navigate those waters of still being in a W-2 collecting a paycheck while you're trying to transition out? And then how do you manage the financial risk that comes and is associated with actually making that jump and exiting out of the day job and making your business the job? And then how do we do all of this stuff without, burning out? Because we're people, right? And life is a real thing. And, working 2 jobs realistically, even if you're doing it nights and weekends or you're doing it on the side, right? Because we definitely promote the concept of investpreneurs to go get a job, get somebody to pay you to get experience, take all of that experience, some of that pay, go build something on the side, get your asset to match your income, and then go level up, make an exit 1 play, right? How do you do that without burning out, right? It's a very real thing. And then ultimately you're transitioning out of your current thing into this new thing, which comes with a ton of risk, a ton of anxiety, right? It's a big challenge. And it's something that we all need to, hopefully overcome successfully in a profitable manner to take a less risky approach to capitalism so that we can increase our likelihood of success, right? Because at the end of the day, the goal is simple. It's how do we move from a side thing to make it our main thing? How do we minimize the risk in doing so that we can consistently continue to put profit in our pocket, right? Pay our bills, make sure that we're managing all of our life, responsibilities, because again, life is a very real thing. And how do we, do so with a strategy that's simple, where we're not complicating things. We still have, time for ourselves to be able to manage, all of our personal life expenses, personal life obligations, our finances, everything that comes with this transition. And how do we do it where we're managing our cash flow and we can, build a reserve up while we're still in our day job before leaving, and then ultimately making this our main thing, right? So this is all about navigating this transition successfully. Most folks, go through this transition if it's a planned exit. Many folks will find themselves in a business because it's an unplanned exit, and they probably may have, received some unfortunate news, maybe downsizing in their organization, and they were in a job and now they got laid off, and now because they're unemployed, they're jumping into exit 1. Make this your full-time job, and they are starting from behind. And that's something that we really want to get folks to avoid. Realistically, everybody has a path forward, right? Where you could position yourself for a successful exit one transition. And the time to start that is now. Even if you're not even thinking about making your business your full time, maybe you don't even have a business. One of the best ways to actually navigate these waters and really truly take a less risky approach to capitalism is to do this when you don't need to. It's just like raising money, right? When you're raising money, you're looking for capital. Us over at Bootstrapper Capital, we're creating the most affordable and flexible capital for profit-led businesses, but we still play in the capital markets. And the thing about the capital markets is the capital seems to flow to the folks that don't really need it. Now we're trying to change that, and we're trying to build a better path forward, especially for profit-led business owners or bootstrap business owners. But that's just the way the world works. And it's just like starting a business. The best time to start one is when you don't need to, right? So really start to plan early and often. And that's when you got to face the pains, right? So as we're going through this process, as we're actually working through it, and we're really navigating the waters, hopefully successfully, we're going to feel a lot of pain, right? Because within that pain, the other side of it is growth. And hopefully, you're achieving and navigating successfully to then exit two, which we're going to cover in a little bit of a simple plan of how you can actually do so, right? But when we're working through this process and we're exit one entrepreneurs, whether you're just getting ready to exit into your business full time, or maybe you already have, right? And you're working through your business and it is now your day job. We all typically feel the same, right? And it's perfectly okay. Everything starts somewhere, right? You just happen to be here, and we all were, right? As you are now, I once was. As I am now, you too shall be, right? I like to say that to my kiddos, but it's like the concept of feeling overwhelmed is super understandable, right? Juggling every part of a new business, literally wearing every single hat as a probably solopreneur, because most exit one founders are solopreneurs, owner operators, doing all the work, right? You're dealing with all the financial uncertainty that comes with being a new business owner. There's potentially inconsistent cash flow, which we want to show you how to solve for, right? We don't want you to worry about the profit in your pocket. We want it to be consistent and sustainable, so you're making good, responsible, timely decisions, right? How am I acquiring my customers so to keep the revenue flowing through? You may end up finding a lot of challenges, a lot of newer entrepreneurs. Just the concept of acquiring a customer, is challenging. Let alone acquiring customers. Many folks have a problem just identifying who that ideal customer persona is. Who is the right customer? Everything starts somewhere, and sometimes that's where we need to start, is just knowing who we're selling to and why they're buying and how ultimately we're delivering them that value in the simplest possible manner, right? And when you're tied to that, because you sold, you now have to deliver. And if you're the one responsible for everything, you're literally grinding it out, and you could get stuck in that grind, right? You may find yourself trapped in your business in the day-to-day now that you're running this full time, and you may not have the time that you need to continue to acquire customers and grow the business and simplify processes and improve things. And many times a lot of investpreneurs will feel bogged down by the day-to-day of being in business, being successful, generating, profit in their pocket from customers. And that could become a barrier from making it down that road to exit two successfully, right? Unfortunately, the odds are against us as entrepreneurs and bootstrappers, right? Less than 50% of businesses are going to be in business within 5 years. Less than a third will survive, 10 years in business. Our job here is to help you beat those odds, right? We want to get 100% of profit-led business owners to survive the first 5 years, and then ultimately go on to master all 5 of these exits of ownership, right? And there's a simple path to be able to do so. But it all starts with trying to figure out, where's the balance? And we need to be able to find that work-life balance, because, dealing with everything can be really overwhelming. And within focus or within simplicity, you can find focus. And within the focus, you can be able to, systematically go and work towards achieving your outcomes, right? Keep it simple. The reality is though, it could be very scary. If you're an exit one business owner and maybe it's the first time that you're a business owner or you're a business for the first time, you could be worrying about making the wrong decisions, because the funny thing is, like, no matter how many times you do it, you're always going to make mistakes, right? So there's nothing wrong with making a mistake, but it can be scary to think that you're going to have to make a decision that could be wrong, and then you're going to have to deal with these negative consequences, and all of it's on you and all this stuff. And that could just become like an impediment for like paralysis by analysis, and then your lack of action becomes your downfall, right? So all of this at the end of the day can get solved with, a simple path forward. But if you don't have a clear path to build your business, if you don't have a clear path to be able to grow profitably, put more profit in your pocket, then you can also be unsure in terms of how you're simplifying and systematizing your business to be able to support growth and ultimately navigating to exit two, building a team, right? So that you can actually start to delegate out and get yourself out of a lot of these problems or pains that we're feeling as an exit one business owner. But the good news is, right, if you're feeling any of these things today, it's just a moment in time. It too shall pass. And there's simple things that we can do to be able to move us forward. But the reality is like, this shit is hard. This is not easy. There's no, ready, set, go, just press the easy button when it comes to building a profitable business, right? Especially if you're bootstrapping. I mean, regardless, it doesn't matter. Business is hard in general, but that's okay, right? Everything starts somewhere, and if you keep it simple and you stay focused, there's a really good chance that you could end up getting to your end result, right? And what we want to be able to help you promote and achieve is a profit-led focus, right? So we want you to get profit-led by prioritizing profitability in your decisions. And by prioritizing profitability in your decisions, you're going to be able to get strategic in terms of making sure that you're building in the necessary margins to be able to take a lot of that risk off the table. And by taking a profit-led approach, what we're really trying to do is help promote you in a structured way, because it's structure, strategies, and accountabilities that get you to simple, profitable outcomes. We're trying to put some frameworks in place that help you not have to think about everything and can get you just focused on hopefully the right things that allow you to put more profit in your pocket in a repeatable, successful manner, with healthy margins, so that you could start to reinvest inside of you can get some freedom, right, inside of your business, to then focus on a path forward towards a successful exit two and make reinvestments that hopefully make your life better, right? So as you're building your business, a better business, you're also hopefully building a better life for yourself in that business, right? And we take always our 4-pillar approach to everything that we're doing in terms of building a better business. And at each exit, it's a slight tweak, right? So we start foundationally, and then as we're successfully exiting from exit 1 to exit 2 to exit 3 to exit 4, and then eventually exit 5, where we're fully, getting out of our business, whether, partially or fully, we're just building upon the foundation. So the 4 pillars that we take in terms of our approach: organize around profit, right? Standardize around product, simplify around process, and ultimately optimize around people. And the reality is, all of it at the end of the day is pretty much focused on your ability to optimize around people over the long term, right? You want to build a successful, sustainable business that becomes the best possible place for other people to work, because that is what's going to grow the longevity and sustainability of your business. But you want to do so in a profitable manner. So over time, once you've done this, once you've laid exit 1, exit 2, exit 3 foundation, you start to take these 4 pillars and you really start to wedge them in, and you're only focused on the endpoints: organize around profit and optimize around people, because like standardizing around product and simplifying around process really gets honed in and starts humming, right? So by keeping a focus on the parameters, you can really squeeze it all together and keep everything moving in the right direction. And that's profitable growth, right? So when we're talking about organizing around profit, you're really trying to exit out of your current job profitably, right? So you don't want to necessarily be taking a pay cut or a life cut in this transition. And there's steps that you can take to plan appropriately, proactively. And that's why, again, we really, kind of promote the concept of go get a job, build on the side, and do this proactively. So you're not in a reactive position. Most things in life, and most things when it comes to building a better business, mastering the 5 exits of ownership, it's all about staying proactive in the process, not reactive, right? Because by having a plan and knowing where you want to go, you can be proactive into your planning, and then you can take action, and you can always control your actions, right? Can't necessarily guarantee outcomes, but you can always control what you do, your actions, right? You can always control process, right? And that's why we're so process-led and being profit-led focused. So you're going to be able to look at portions from a position of financial clarity to make better, timely decisions that help you become profit-led and take risk off the table as you're navigating through these waters. In terms of standardizing around product, this is really just getting going, right? So this is the simplicity of focus, and it's really identifying, who is your ideal customer persona, right? Or your ICP, like who are you selling to and why do they buy, right? By looking at those two things, you can really then, ideally narrow in on how do you acquire them, right? So by simplifying who's buying and why they buy, you can then go and find where they hang out, right? How do I acquire them? And you can start to simplify the aspects of your profit engine, right? Your business system, by standardizing your product, right? Because then what you can do is start to simplify how you're delivering the value once you sold it. And you're doing this because you're being selfish for yourself. Again, if you're constrained by being a one-person show, right? And you, again, want to have balance to life, right? And you also know that at some point you want to start to delegate this out and become an exit 2 business and build a team, then you're trying to simplify your process of delivering your value, your solution. So that's why we standardize around product before we start to simplify around process, right? So it's really organized around profit, which allows us to make good, timely decisions and know our focus and be able to manage, the financial accountabilities that come with business ownership. Then you're standardizing around product, which is really about, getting, acquiring, and delivering value to customers. And then you're simplifying around process, which is really being obsessed with the metrics. You want to measure what matters, right? So you want to identify the key metrics and targets identified with each aspect of your profit engine, right? So how, what actions you're taking to be able to acquire customers, what actions you're taking to be able to deliver that value to the customers. And you're starting to really, track it and then plan how you will start to delegate it in the future. So for yourself, you're doing it to kind of identify opportunities to simplify for yourself, because again, you're trying to simplify for your own time. And any area where you could potentially cut costs, that's more profit in your pocket. Any area where you could save time, you're saving yourself time, right? So that's a very good thing. By being obsessed with this at this stage, as an exit 1 business owner, what you're really doing is laying the foundation. That's the groundwork for the 4th part of the pillar, which is optimizing around people. And that's when you can, what you're really doing is optimizing around your own happiness, because again, you're trying to focus on building sustainably, which means not burning out, right? That means being able to have that work-life balance, even though, your business is now really your life, right? There's, you made that jump and you need this thing to be successful. So it's kind of, whatever it takes mentality, but you want to take that whatever it takes mentality by keeping it simple and focused and optimizing for balance, profitability, and sustainability, right? Over longevity of time. You don't want to burn out, right? And by doing so for yourself, what you're really doing is setting up for others. And by, focusing on what goes into the day-to-day operations of the business today, when you're doing everything, which is a crazy moment in time. That's why most businesses do fail at exit 1. It's not It's not easy, right? Simple is definitely not easy, but you can keep it simple and you can start to measure what matters and track it. And then because you understand your numbers, you understand what it takes to acquire a customer. So what inputs are going into me acquiring a customer? What inputs are going me to deliver that value to a customer? And then what are the outputs of that? What's the profit margin that I'm putting in my pocket? By knowing your numbers, what you can actually do is plan for the delegation. And that's how you can navigate to exit two successfully and profitably, because you can identify, hey, what actions need to get delegated away? How much time would that take? How many headcounts do I need? What people do I need? Right? What people do I need to be able to, from a people-led approach, what people do I need to put in place? What's the cost of that person going to be? What's my profitability that I'm dealing with from my output today, right? From what's being generated off of running this business. And then you can plan profitably to hire profitably. And that's how you can actually navigate yourself from an exit one business to an exit two business in a successful manner, which is exit doing all the work. That's a great place to be, right? And you've earned it, right? Because exit one is really about doing it for yourself, so that in exit two, you could start to do it for others, right? And then exit three, you're really doing it for the organization and making the organization a beautiful business to build over a long period of time, right? Trust the process, commit to the journey. If you want help doing this, if you are an exit one business, we have a playbook, right? So there is an exit one playbook. Everybody inside the community gets access. Bootstrapper community over at Bootstrapper Capital gets access to this playbook. And this is a subsection, this is a sub chapter of the overall profit-led owner's handbook, where we break down all 5 exits, right? So we have the handbook, which is all 5 exits and the core pillars of our equity management system. And then we, have these additional, more focused portions that help you in a teach, train, equip manner actually navigate through each exit individually successfully, in a step-by-step based approach, right? So you can get that over at Bootstrapper Capital. If you're already inside the community, just point and click and you'll be able to duplicate these templates for yourself, get access to it, and then follow the materials along in the community, and hopefully be able to build better together as you're working with either your peer accountability group or other folks inside the community to be able to follow along and implement this stuff, right? This is exit one. Trust the process, commit to the journey. You'll get to exit two.